Why is it so hard? There we go. Ay, wow, too much. Uh, this is a Northcraft. Oh, sorry, BMC. I have to change the title, huh? Did I make a mistake? Uh, Jeez, I made a mistake on the name, huh? It's the Northcraft BMC. It's the lure. It's a surface plug that you can use as a walk the dog minnow, and at the same time, a normal stick bait where it actually dives. So kind of unique. And the guy who designed this is KD. So he joined us in the first fishing chat. There we go. So this style of making assist hooks is very similar to how Shimano makes theirs. Yeah, I made a mistake. While I was typing it, I actually was in a hurry and I didn't have my glasses on. I'll correct it when it's uploaded after this. After I make this, it'll give me a chance to actually update it. So I'll just update it then. Not too sure if I'm able to change the title now. Actually, uh, but it's clear, yeah. No, it's Northcraft, but it was bought out by Rapala, and it's a JDM. I don't think it's available anymore. You know, I don't know if it's still available. There we go. Okay, so I can BMC, BMC, BMC 120F. There we go. That should be it. Yay! So Rock, thanks for bringing that up. So that's one done right there. And the hook that I'm using is actually like kind of like a live bait hook. So that's cool. We're gonna glue this up later, I guess. I just want to do this because This is a perfect size lure for the estuaries and all that. And if I'm able to go when the wind dies down. No, no, no. But I'm anal like that, and it's better to actually correct it right now than later on. I might forget. To tell you honestly, so that's cool that I was able to change it actually. I think you could still get this in some shops and then eBay, all that. Um, it's a good lure. It's actually very uh, what do you call this? If you're a fanatic of like walk the dog and all that, it's actually really good. But I can't say that it's easy to use. So if you're proficient at walking the dog, you'll like this lure. If you don't, or even working stick baits, if you know how to work stick baits, you'll love it. Because it's like a mini, small version of like the GT stick baits and the tuna stick baits. But if you don't know how to use those, you'll probably get frustrated. Because there's a little bit of skill involved. But yeah, it's one of those that are actually like quite good. Um, it walks really well. It swims well. You know, Relatively okay, I guess. It's not particularly um, excellent at walking. Let's say. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over to the far side and not to the beat a dead horse while I got your attention. A big reason I was asking about KDM stuff earlier is because I heard the SOM stuff is made in Korea, but then I have seen boxes of this. Yeah, I mean, there's some components that are made in Korea, and then some that are also made in Japan. It's not fully like the I believe some of the machining is actually um, some of the machining is done in Korea, and then some of the gears are made in Japan, the gearing, and then they just assemble it in Japan as well. But the machining, Korea. There are models. I guess what you saw there is that there's Z Japan. So the Z Japan models are not sold in Japan openly. So they are export models, and those are the only ones that actually has Japan. And so Z Japan is made in Nakano, but I think not all of it either. The only way to get the lowest price, the SOM, would be when there's a newer model that's about to be released. Um, but the price is very stable, and it's not going to get any cheaper. There are some places that they have limited edition models, and they buy the whole stock for that. They have like fancy colors and all that crap, so you can get those cheaper because uh, it could be that they buy the whole stock, They have a bit more leeway when it comes to pricing. Like these are specific shops, though. So like take for example Thailand. They would actually have good deals. The distributor in Thailand, because they have some reels that were made for them, right? And then these reels come from like a different same generation but different model. So it might be that the previous model doesn't have like carbon parts, and then the newer model they would have like carbon parts and stuff, but the internals are all the same. So this is like the same generation reels, so you can get cheaper deals, because like they would put it up on sale because they would have another version coming out pretty soon, stuff like that. So yeah, those are the instances that you'd be able to get good deals. But as second hand, of course, so you'd always be in the lookout for auctions and all that. But those are all older models and stuff. um, there's um, yeah, actually there's a shop in Amazon Japan that sells them. And sometimes, actually, I pointed out a friend, I helped him get a reel by accident, because I was like, hey, check this out, man. It's actually quite cheap. Um, Believe it or not, it was $600. And for the blue silver. And then I said, like, I don't know if it's the picture, if it's like the current model, but it's a very good deal. So he said, like, okay, whatever, it's an SOM. I'm gonna just try and buy. That was the lucky. He bought two, and that was the luckiest purchase ever, because it turns out that these are new models, and yeah, this all from Amazon Japan. So it was kind of like a nail biter up until the very end when um, it arrived in California. So when the boxes arrived, I was like, "Hey, dude, yeah, I want to see when you open." And when he opened, man, it was the luck of the Irish. Well, he's not Irish, but you know, holy crap, that was lucky as hell, man. Lucky as hell. What trout fishing reel company did the owner from SOM Enterprise? Uh, it wasn't it was what do you call this? Fly reel loop. It's still around. He basically made he designed um, the drag system of the reel, and basically SOM is the the drag system of SOM is very similar to that. Blue Safari, I have two, and I've used them. A lot of the people that buy the Blue Safari, they don't understand what the reel is for. If you actually use what the reel is intended for, it's actually quite good. The problem is people are misunderstanding what it's for, you know, and people are born perfect, so that happens. But it's not the reel they expect. Okay, so the Blue Safari was made for light tackle applications. The competition of the Blue Safari is actually the Conquest. So you have the 300, 400 Conquest, Ocean Conquest. So it's not like a full on jigging reel. It's a light reel, you know. Um, and then obviously they don't understand this. They think that it is what a blue safari is. It's not, you know. So uh, that's where the issues start. That's basically what it is. Personally, uh, for the application that I use it for, it's freaking perfect, you know. But I have mine factory modified. All right, so let me show you. Like I have two. All right, so yeah, this one, right? The size of this reel is actually bigger than a. This is a 35, so it's kind of bigger than an L30. It's made so that it's what do you call this? The spool. It's interchangeable, so it's very modular. So it's made to be a very modular reel, and very versatile. So as the name implies, it's safari, right? So the whole concept of this reel is that you could use it for uh, several uses, not just one. So the main purpose for this is uh, light jigging. Okay, be it fast or slow jigging. How do you feel about those bone fishing? Um, they're freshwater rods, right? The guy who designed them is what do you call this? Like specializes in freshwater stuff. So I guess they're good for freshwater stuff. And then when it comes to like the saltwater stuff, it's not. It's kind of like Varibas if they started selling rods, right? So anyway, uh, so two different categories. One, it's not made to replace the what do you call this? It's not made to replace uh, the blue heaven. Um, so this particular one, like the what do you call this? It's an OSHA Calcutta, or OSHA Conquest. That's the competition. So it's the same type of reel, only it has like advancements, and it's totally capable of actually going deep. Okay, so the capability is like it's not a one-trick pony, so you could use it. So the whole idea of the Blue Safari was that you can actually take one reel, and it does several jobs. You know, um, it's not it's kind of not as singular as a blue heaven. The problem is the blue heaven is very hard to replace. Yeah, so for fishing for tie rubber, you don't use your blue heaven because it doesn't have a level wind. This one has a level wind, so kind of easy to use for tie rubber, light jigging, in chiku. So those types of fishing, like literally what an OSHA Calcutta or what an OSHA uh, Conquest is used for. It's only that it's kind of big. That's it. So a lot of people think that, oh, I'm gonna replace my blue heaven with this. It's not real for that. You can use it for what do you call this? Okay, so the line that you can put on is like PE2, right? So uh, comfortably fishing up to 200 something meters, and then in around that depth you can actually use up to 300, let's say 350, depending on the rod that you put it on. So uh, the spools that you have, there's three spools. There's the shallow, mid, and then there's the deep spool. So for the deep spool, it holds like what 600 meters of PE2. So if you're using a fast reel, okay, a high speed reel, like such as this one, okay, so this is a high speed, because the other one's a power gear. So this one is fast. This is the PE2 300. So this is the mid. Okay, I could fish this up to like 250 meters. It's still fast enough, and guess what? It's going to act like a 1500 or an L30, right? Somewhere there. So that's that. Whatever I use an L34 or a 1500 OSHA jigger, it can do the same thing. But it's not designed to be used consistently like that. You know, there are better reels, obviously, and that's that. It's just that people tend to kind of think that, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna use this for everything. Yeah, not really the reel for that. Especially, I think for people that are kind of looking for a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that's a good thing. But if you are specifically buying stuff for a definite purpose, like slow jigging, fast jigging, or something, this is not the real. There are better reels that I use it for the light uh, fishing stuff. That's it. you I just think that although it's totally capable, because it has caught some nice fish since its introduction. Um, I just believe that there are other reels that make your fishing more comfortable. You know. Yeah, 1652. Yeah, should be all right. Okay, it's clean, huh? But the picture is also quite clear. I'm seeing it on my monitor here. You know what? Let me stop the focus. It's focusing in and out. So let me fix that. I didn't even notice. There we go. Yeah, you know, the Blue Safari, it takes one screw to just pop everything out. And that's all and good. For Blue Heaven, three. And I mean, if you're buying it for jigging, get an L30 or an L50. But depends on what type of jigging you're doing, and also depends on um, the jigging that you want, and the size of the fish that you're after. But L30 is very capable. I mean, um, I've been telling my students here before to get an L30. Stubborn dickheads. They listen because they said like, oh, instead of buying two, we'll just buy one. So let's do the L50. I'm like, all right. Then after a while, they bought an L30, and now they don't use their L50. So I said like, either way you pay, and it's their money. I was trying to save them money, but they don't want to listen. So they're, and then now their L50s are just freaking sitting on the shelves. But when I travel, I actually take the L50 with me because it's a bit more flexible. You know, I still use PE2, but I don't have to respool if something happens, right? So if I'm traveling, let's say I'm going to fish somewhere, um, and I really don't know the area that much or the fish that's there, I would use an L50. But if I know the place, then it's a choice. If it's an L50 fits it, then good. If it's an 80 that fits it, then I'd use an 80 or 120 or whatever. But when I'm traveling and I'm out of my comfort zone, the 80 is definitely the go-to. I wouldn't recommend this, the accelerant. The L30 would be about 90% of your use, I would say. You know, yes, an L30 or an L50 depends. Like take for example, if you're more into slow jigging or fast jigging, get the Blue Heaven. Okay, either an L30 or a 50. That's totally up to you. If you are doing tie rubber, light jigging, that's most of your fishing, then get a Blue Safari PE3. So yeah, an L30 would be perfect for that rod. And when you're talking about an L30, then the Blue Safari is also kind of like a candidate. Alrighty, finally. So I have a hook here that's about as big as the treble. So here's how I size it. Where the hell are those hooks? And I swear to God, they just freaking disappear. Oh, there we go. All right. So this is how you find the perfect size. So you take your hook, you put it there. So it's about the same. Yeah. So size it accordingly like that. Probably on the smaller side for this one, but that's fine. Um, so the tail hook, because it's light, it's gonna wiggle more. That's uh, that's the whole thing about this one. Okay. Jeez. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Okay. So we have that, and then a thing to consider also is that they shouldn't touch. Yeah. Especially with the smaller ones, it's a headache when you're casting and then bang. One thing that you actually should pay attention to is when you're inserting the hooks. So this is where the split ring matters, like the smaller stuff. So you insert the split ring assembly in the position where they're supposed to sit. Okay, so that's how it would sit, and this one points in the other direction. Okay, so like that. There we go. Okay, so like that, and then just there we go, bang, and that is it, right? See, they don't touch. That's good because this swims. You could either it's diving or it's walk the dog, and there we go. That's a nice one. Yes, if we make a thumbnail, it would be that. Yeah. Stop moving, dude. There we go. For the thumbnail. Yep. All right. So hold on. Let me clean up here. I'm gonna change my glasses so I can read your questions better, Rock. Okay. Okay. Hello, Moo. Um, these days, no. I've always used assist hooks on my plugs a really long time. Now, funny story, when I started making assist hooks and understanding like all these, and this was just before the GT boom here in the UAE. Um, I was telling the guy who owns the guide service, I said like, man, um, you know, assist hooks are great in plugs. Fucker laughed at me, right? And then a few years later, Shimano showed a plug with the assist hooks. And then I just, told him like, hey, look at that. You're selling those, huh? And then I go, a few years ago, you laughed at me for like the assist hooks on plugs. But this was in the early 2000s, so like 2007, 2010, around there. Before 2010, I was already using hook treble hooks on plugs, specifically these surface cruisers. So I was putting like the big ones. I was putting assist hooks on those. And remember, it wasn't like the slow jigging stuff before, right? It was all fast jigging. So single assist hooks on those, and they work really well. At least I discovered that earlier on. Um, what SOM reel would you put with it again? As viewers get random commercials. Oh, okay. So for that part, it's according to use, Rock. Okay, so like take for example, if you are doing uh, a lot of things like uh, tie rubber in chuku, lighter stuff like jigging, then this is the reel. Okay, this is the reel. Now, uh, the what do you call this? The Blue Safari is a specialist reel either for fast jigging or slow jigging. So if you're doing more of that, then the Blue Safari. If if you're doing a lot of things, in chuku, light jigging and stuff, then Blue Safari. That's what it is for. Okay, so that's what it's for. Literally, that's why it's invented. So that's kind of like the gap that it. What do you call this? That's the gap that it kind of fills, and that's the same gap that the OSHA Conquest occupies. Okay, so um, yeah, it's a decision. It's a decision you're gonna have to make, and you have a pretty good problem. I would say. I was thinking a Blue Safari would be good for slow jigging. Yes, yes, that's what I use it for. But it also depends on the depth that you're fishing in. So, let's say 50 meters and under, you get the PG. Now, if you find yourself, I know it's kind of difficult because you're not just fishing one depth. Okay, uh, of course. So this is what I normally use, and this is the PG. Okay, and it's the silver version. Okay, a little bit of a caveat. Okay, a little bit of a caveat. The reels that you will get is not like this because this knob and this shaft is different. Okay, and it's a modification from the factory. Okay, so this is a PG, and this has like the round knob with the counterbalance, the normal one. This is like they call it the K version. Okay, so that's that. This is what I normally use, and this is also on the heavy side. You know, this is definitely heavier than a Blue Heaven, I would say. Okay, so that, and then that's the PG. Now the the this is the HG, and this is the Z Japan model. So you Z Japan. Okay, now this is something that I would use for deeper water, meaning 50 meters and below, or 50 meters and deeper. The If I'm fishing uh, in shallower water, so 50 meters and below, which is most of the time here. I'll be honest. So this is what I use. Now, if I'm going deeper and I'm going slow jigging in up to 200 meters, this is the reel. Okay. Uh, it is difficult. Thank you for yeah, yeah. It's a difficult decision. Now it's like I'll tell you this. Okay. Um, when you start getting into the technicalities, it becomes difficult. Okay, and this is a very good example right here. Okay, um, this was a very difficult decision. Okay, and having to spend on something like this is very difficult to justify. But once you actually get into the technicalities and you're looking for something, and these are the only ones that could actually meet the expectations, so you have no choice. It's like this. So when you're buying something that you're you know uh, looking for with uh, specific reasoning and technicalities, so that's that, and that's also when it gets expensive. So yeah, I understand the struggle, you know but yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. But that's it. And sometimes it could be that straightforward too, and trust me, for me to be able to get to that answer actually took me years. So like, take for example, um, just by accident, I used my fast jigging, um, what do you call this, conquest, Osha conquest, to slow jig, right? And I was like, what the hell? Why is this working better? So it was quite shallow, and normally it's like HG, right? So for slow jigging, it's HG. For fast jigging, it's PG. And I used the slow conquest, and it immediately turned into a harvest. And then, sitting down, I just thought to myself, like, hey, um, yeah, yeah, I hear you. It's kind of difficult to find that kind of information elsewhere as well. There's channels that try to be blowing smoke out of their ass. Um, so when I started to like use my Conquest PG for slow jigs, and this was in 27 meters, 30 meters of water. It just worked better. And then sitting down and thinking about it, you have shallow water, so you don't have that much stretch, or you don't have that much slack. So why do you need a fast reel for? A fast reel, when you turn, it takes the jig up faster, higher, faster, and that takes it out of the strike zone way faster than you need it to be. So PG would be a good choice. And then what's the cutoff limit? And some people say 60 meters, others stretch it out to 70, 80. But then if you actually collect statistics and see exactly how many you're catching, right? You will find that it tapers off after 50 meters. I used to keep a log just so I can be very objective about these things, and then that's it. So, best advice I can give you is that if you're looking for one of these, like you're looking to buy one of these, um, light jigging in chuku and tie rubber is like on the table. That's A. If you're doing purely slow jigging or fast jigging, those are two different things. So Blue Heaven, PG or HG. Okay. But if you want to do a lot for especially with the light stuff, get this. Okay, so that takes care of it. The Blue Safari would be the right choice if you're wanting to do these things. Uh, Also to consider is the fact that you're mostly fishing at a certain depth range. So if your depth range is 50 meters, um, up to 50 meters, there we go. Let's say it varies, give or take a few meters, that's fine, but shouldn't be past 60. Okay, so if you're fishing at around that depth, the PG or the power gear version would be the perfect one. Now, if you find yourself fishing in a broader range and then you're going to like 150, 200 meters around that range, then HG. Even if there are some instances where you actually fish shallow at around 20 and stuff like that, um, the HG will give you a bit more flexibility. Okay, now, um, aside from the drag, you will find that this reel is actually kind of strange, okay, because it's a light tackle application reel, but it's sizable, and that has nothing to do with anything except for the spool. So they designed this reel around the spool, okay, and the spool being interchangeable, you can put like a PE point 8 on the very shallow spool, but at the same time they had to make it so that you can take it out to deeper water with a deeper spool. In fact, um, because of this reel, they had to come out with a limited edition, with the same configuration that I asked for, because I made this video, people saw it, and then some people from Japan are actually saying, okay, um, we want something like this. So uh, they offered like a deep spool, and then the handle as well. So the handle that they put on that reel is like this one right here with the carbon, but I like this because it looks so badass with the cork, silver and all this. So uh, when they put this together in the factory, they were like, whoa, it looks so nice. But see, the handle, for me, this handle changes the way the reel feels. Okay, so if you do something like this, it's an extra cost. You're gonna have to buy this, and you're gonna have to buy that separately. Although you can get something like this, like the whole assembly, probably cheaper. But um, for something like this, it's gonna set you back a few bits. Um, but yeah, I mean, you know, this particular one, I've caught some nice fish. Uh, I think the ergonomics of this is actually better than the normal with the counterbalance. you know Also, something weird with this. So when you're reeling, okay, the speed in one direction's fast, and then on the way back it's actually slower. That gives you like a really nice line lay, and kind of too bad you can't cast these things. Do Dude was using a spinning rod doing vertical drops but stopping the line intermittently on the spool on the fall. For what? Fast jigging or slow jigging? If he is slow jigging, I don't know, man. That's wrong. For fast jigging, yeah, there's techniques like that. Where you actually just slow the descent of the jig, move it a lot. Even like the what do you call this? A fake les. There's uh, largely unknown outside of Japan. There's a lot of techniques like fast jigging is just as technical as slow jigging, and if you want to see something that's really strange and interesting, go to Pure Fishing Japan, and then look for the skidding video of how to use the Abu Garcia skid jig, because it's like a DJ, um, like working the what do you call this? Working the spool and manipulating the line like that. It's strange, but if you see if you watch that video, you'll kind of understand you'll kind of understand what the concept is for the jig, and then you understand, like, oh, okay, that's why it's like that. So it's always nice to see those what do you call this techniques and the jig, how it works, what it's supposed to simulate, because the skid jig is actually for what do you call this um, it's to simulate squid and how it moves. Do you advise changing handle to one like this? Moo, actually, these reels don't come with these handles, and I asked the factory to change them for me. So when I got the reels and I have the unboxing video, they arrived like this. So um, the reason being is that I went to the shop here, and then I held the Blue Safari. Actually, even before the shop here bought the Blue Safari, the president of SOM came, and he uh, he brought a sample of the Blue Safari. This was pre-release, and I was playing around with it, and I didn't like how the handle felt in my hands. So when it was time for them to send me a Blue Safari, I told them to change the handle to a regular handle for jigging. So and then when they changed it, they go like, "Oh crap! It works out quite well." So even they actually liked what I asked them to do. So um, and remember also, the main reason why I had them change the handle is not because of the counterbalance. It's because of the length. It's because of the length. So um, the length of the handle matters when you're jigging. And guess what? It's a jigging reel, right? So even if I'm using it as a light tackle reel, changing the handle to a longer one will actually give you a lot more control. Your what do you call this? Your leverage, obviously, because it's longer. It's going to be easier. So it's literally softer to reel than a shorter handle. So yeah, that's I would advise. So um, no complaints. But again, it's a jigging reel. It means that I'm just dropping it up and down. Now, when I'm casting, totally different story. Totally different story. Sounds you can't go wrong with SOM reel. They're all good in their own way, except for the casting reel you mentioned a while ago. You can't cast normally, SOMs. I mean, these are not designed to be cast. However, so just recently they've released this, and This is the smaller of the two. This is the L75. It's basically a wide L50. And then there's the 105, which is a wide L80. So these are designed to be cast totally different reels. But yeah, still blue heaven. Alrighty, Rock. Thanks so much. Fast or slow? Check this kid jigging. Yeah, go ahead and check that. It's very interesting. Anyway, so yeah, kind of different reels for different purposes and all that. It's very specialized, and anything that's specialized costs. And this is obviously the same thing for these. When you go and get technical, things get expensive. Even for ultralight. I've just finished the video on the reels, and I've uploaded it. It's gonna be available for members first for a few days before it gets released out in the public. But very interesting because I actually kind of discussed, and my words were, it would be either the easiest decision to make or the hardest decision to make, because when once, even with, especially with ultralight, once you actually get to the technical aspect of it, and then it kind of makes it complicated. Anyway, so I'm gonna end this here, guys. Okay, I actually just wanted to do the assist hooks for these, because this doubles as kind of like an upload. So you know did this, and there's still others here, okay, that I'm gonna do, and I'll do that tomorrow, the next day, or whatever. But I'm going to be streaming every day, so there's going to be a new video every day. It's like a video like this. The formal videos, of obviously, I'll still keep on doing them, but this is a very good way for me to interact with you guys, just like how we're doing now. So anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Righty, take it easy. Class is missed.